Halftime Walk. It's directed by Ang Lee, who also did Life of Pi, and that's a really good movie in my opinion. It's one of my favorites, and that's probably the reason why I wanted to see this one so badly, because that movie is really well done. So this movie takes place in 2004, and it's about a 19-year-old young man who is in the Iraqi war and is coming home on a victory tour, and people are portraying the war in a different way than it's actually seen through Billy Lynn's eyes. He's played by Joe Allen, who I've never seen in any other movie before because I think he's new. But that's basically the plot. He's on a victory tour and all this other shenanigans happens in the movie. And like I said, I kind of had an obsession with wanting to see this movie. It was kind of weird. I don't know why I wanted to see this one so bad. Because the first 5 minutes of the movie, when I sat there, I was just waiting and waiting. And then right in my mind, I was thinking to myself, this feels like a straight-to-TV movie. That's just how bad this movie was. And it's quite surprising how bad this movie was overall. In fact, this is probably the worst movie I've seen in theaters in a couple years. It's not too good, guys. I would not recommend seeing it. Ang Lee's a good director. He made Brokeback Mountain, he made Life of Pi, and he made a couple other older movies. So this movie overall was surprisingly bad, and I did not understand where exactly he was going with it. It's not terrible, but it's bad enough that I have a list of some of the things that I just really disliked about this movie. The acting in the movie is just fine, to say the least. It's some decent performances here and there, but some of these performances are pretty bad. Specifically, Steve Martin, who plays this Jerry Jones Cowboys kind of owner, and that was very off and did not fit the movie at all. That was not Steve Martin. That was pretty bad casting there overall. Steve Martin was just weird. I don't know what that was. Kristen Stewart probably gives the best performance in the movie. Vin Diesel, he's just okay. He's always Vin Diesel. There's nothing to complain about, but he's obviously not great. He's just Vin Diesel in every single movie. And Joe Allen, he's also pretty decent. Nothing to write home about, but, you know, his performance is just okay. Garrett Hedlund probably gives my favorite performance in the movie because he's my favorite actor in the entire movie. And it's unfortunate because this guy, I think, is a really good actor, but is never given anything good to work with. So come on, guys, out in Hollywood, let's give this guy something good to work with for once. Though Tron Legacy, that movie's a little bit underrated in my opinion, so let's give that movie some props. But the rest of the acting in the movie, everybody else felt like they'd be on a straight-to-TV, Lifetime kind of a movie, and it was pretty atrocious. And there were so many annoying characters, especially the squad members, a part of Billy Lynn's squad. I thought all of them were really annoying, and I never bought any of them as actually being in the military. They did not represent the military like I think many people in the military would act outside of being in the war, and it just felt completely off and was completely misrepresented. There were a lot of fans in the movie too that were given lines, and some of this dialogue was terrible. It tried to be funny, and it did not come off as funny at all. It came off as somewhat Michael Bay humor, but worse. Think about how bad that dialogue must be. And one weird thing was this movie had absolutely no plot or any direction whatsoever. It felt like a movie that was just trying to get through, trying to make some money, but it was not happening. There was no plot in this movie, and that was incredibly annoying and made me very, very bored. I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't even care about spoilers because this movie is pretty terrible overall. So the ending actually is Steve Martin's character talking to Joe Allen's character about being in a movie and how he's corrupt and everything. And that's exactly what this movie was not coming off as. It was coming off as an emotional movie with somebody dealing with being in war and coming back and seeing the differences between what people think and what he saw. And that's what the trailer showed me, but this movie did not even come close to that. Actually, there is no halftime walk in this movie, if I think about it, because in the movie he just goes on a stage and just sits there for 5 seconds, and that's that. So this movie's title does not even make any sense. And the battle scene in the movie was barely even in the movie. That was weird too, because it came off as somewhat of a war movie, but it was not even close to a war movie. This was just a movie that had no direction whatsoever. There's also a forced romance in this movie that made no sense either. That's a part of the random scenes that we were given, and that made no sense either because that was extremely forced and completely unnecessary to the whole story. It was shot in 120 frames per second though, which a lot of people were saying is something incredible this movie was doing. But honestly, it did not make me take this movie seriously at all. It made me think of this movie more as a joke because I don't think we're ready for those kinds of frame rates. I can't even believe I consider this one of my most anticipated movies of the year because this movie was just one of the worst I've seen. It's not terrible. It's not the worst movie of the year. It's just plain old bad. It's probably the worst movie I've personally seen in a few years. But I'm not going to say it's complete garbage because there are a couple things I enjoyed with the movie, but overall it's just not very good. This grade really doesn't matter. I'm thinking between 35 and 40%, so let's just give it a 37%. Don't ever consider watching this movie, guys. Don't ever watch it on TV. Don't ever buy it. That's for sure. Never, never, never buy this movie because I guarantee you I will never watch this movie ever again for the rest of my life. Well, guys, I wasted my time, so don't waste yours. So hopefully this weekend I can go see another movie. I'm not really sure what I'm going to see because Ally didn't get the best reviews, but I also kind of want to see it. Moana got really good reviews, so we'll see about that. I hope I can get another review out this week, so we'll see. I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving, so thanks a lot for watching this video and have a fantastic day.